Good evening, everyone. Boy, I'm excited, y'all. How you feel tonight, Raj and Yana? What's going on, Yana?
Feeling great. It's been a long day, but it's been a good day.
Awesome. How about you, Raj? What's happening? How you doing?
I don't really have long days no more, but you know, I had a good day at the gym and whatnot, and everything's going good. My grandson, he was gone to school almost all day, so today been like really pleasant. I ain't hear my refrigerator door open and close for like 2 hours. That's a miracle.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, you know what? The Commanders won Monday Night Football, man. I'm excited, so I'm ready.
That wasn't even no game. That game. Oh my God! I wish my dad was here. That boy is. He's not as fast as Lamar, but he plays like. And that's what Brady said. He plays like Lamar. He's not as fast as Lamar, but he's more accurate than Lamar though.
Oh, without a doubt, man. He's
on point. When he threw that long one, man, that was perfect. You heard what Brady said? You heard what Brady said? Brady said, "Look like one of mine." After the game was over with and they was talking on the show, he said, "Look like one of mine." But him, seven rings, he can get away with that. He can get away with that. But that boy on point. But remember, you and I was talking last year. I told you this year. I said, y'all gonna be all right when y'all got that boy. You was like, well, I don't know. I said, y'all gonna be all right. That boy, they kind of held him back at LSU, LSU or UCLA? LSU, because he came behind the dude from Cincinnati, Barrow. Yeah. And, he had to live that hype down. Joe did this. Joe did that. Man, Max Neeks Joe.
Look,
that's why he busted you up. You saw what happened. They went head up. Then I was so happy for him. Now they're not gonna say Joe did this, Joe did that. They're gonna say what he did to Joe.
Well, we're gonna segue into the show, man. We got a hot show tonight, man. We got two legends from Southern High School tonight, man. A lot of people say, "Oh man, why do you guys have the enemy on the show?"
What?
But you know what? They are deserving of their flowers. So without ado, our first guest tonight we're going to bring on is Mr. Chuck Mackell.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, welcome to the show, my brother.
Good evening.
What's going on, Cuzzo?
Yeah. Man, we glad you could make it. So our next guest is none other than Fred Booz. Fred, what's happening? How you doing?
Fred, your mic muted.
Your mic, my brother.
He thought you might say something about Annapolis.
What'd he say?
While he's unmuted, you want to say good evening to Vanessa Turner and good evening to Ron McGee.
Yes. Fred, unmute your mic.
Call him on the phone and tell him his mic muted.
Okay.
Yeah. Because he's talking up a storm.
He was getting on me.
Yeah, now you get on him now.
Phone off just a second.
Yeah. Get on your nephew. Get on your nephew. Get your nephew straight.
1 second.
Because look his face. He confused.
Yeah.
There you go. Because your mic was muted. We was clowning on you too.
I did my stuff off air, man.
Hey, look, brother. Hey, before we get into the show, we got some house rules. We got the Southern High Bulldog. That's DAWGS in the house. We got some rules for you. The first rule is this, fellas. All right, you ready for rule number 1?
Say whatever you want.
You need to be on your best behavior tonight, fellas. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Number two, I don't want to hear nothing come out your mouth about beating the Napa High Panthers tonight, okay?
Throwing them out.
All right. So we're gonna move right into the interview with Chuck, and this question is for both of you. We're gonna travel back in time, okay? Chuck, tell us where you were born and raised.
I was born in Baltimore, and I was raised at Johns Hopkins Hospital. I was raised in Gearsville, Church and Shadyside area.
Hey, Chris.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any brothers and sisters?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm the youngest of 6.
Okay. Okay. Were they basketball players too?
There were sportsmen, but I was the one that went more to basketball. My brothers, Tyrone and little Frank, they were more baseball fanatics, and Tyrone also was football.
Okay. 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 Fred, tell us where
Yes,
you were
sir.
born. Tell us where you were born and raised, bro.
Yes, sir.
Tell us where you were born and raised.
Armand, I was born and raised. I was born in Annapolis, of course. Raised in the Churchton / I tell people Shadyside because they don't know where Churchton is. But Churchton is just right outside of Shadyside. Been here all my life. Currently reside here.
Okay. 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 Now, what are some of the sports you enjoyed playing while growing up?
Armand, actually, I was actually a better baseball player. I loved baseball. Everybody that knows me knows I love the Orioles. I love baseball. I was a great pitcher, believe it or not. I had best curveball in Shadyside.
Really?
But after maybe I got about 11 or 12, I think I picked up a bat. Well, nah, probably not that late. Probably about 9. Picked up a basketball, watching my uncle. So after that, the rest was history. I kind of gave up baseball after I got about 12, 13, 14, and just concentrated on shooting the basketball.
Now, Chuck,
Yes, sir.
I know you didn't play baseball, right?
Oh, yes, sir.
Did you?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I played Little League and Pony League. And in fact, I enjoyed playing baseball. I enjoyed all sports, man. I was softball, football, baseball. But like I said, I just fell for the basketball. I think Earl of Pearl Monroe was my boy. So I always try to emulate him. That was the deal. And I just kept my eye on him.
Now before we move into Ayana's question, right?
Uh-huh.
All right, Fred.
Yes, sir.
Who was the person that you looked up to that really guided you or steered you or mentored you into wanting to become a basketball player?
Chuck.
Yes. I remember as a kid when they lived in Galesville, Chuck would spend hours at Kerry Whedon Elementary School. And I remember my grandmother vividly would be literally have to call him at night. Chuck, you better come home and get some dinner. And this pitch black dark outside. Kerry Whedon had a light that pointed directly at the basketball court. And he knows I'm telling the truth. That's where he stayed all day, every day, shooting at that basket.
Wow.
And after that, I kind of followed him. I'd come over there and he let me shoot around and I don't know if he's a better shooter than me or not. He probably is, but he was. Let's just say he was.
Go ahead, man. Just put it out there. Just put it out there. You were better than he was. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, Mr. Albright used to say, if you had Chucky's height, you could be just like him. But I was like, well, unfortunately, I don't. So I'm gonna have to do what I got.
Now, Chuck, was there anybody that you looked up to that you followed that sort of guided you and mentored you to becoming a basketball star?
Well, I let the first part slip out, which was Earl of Pearl Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
And then around the area where I was the guys that came before me, like Charles Tyler, Cliffy Downs, all those guys. Like I said, I saw them go over to Cold Field House, and they didn't win the championship. And I'm gonna say this real quick because I ain't gonna take up a lot of time. when I was a freshman, I walked into Tom Albright's office and sat down at the desk, and I said, "Coach, I know you've been over to Cole Fieldhouse many times, but you never won a state championship. I'm here to guarantee to you, before I leave this high school, you're gonna get your first state championship." And we did that in my junior year. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I was really more happy for him than I was for myself.
Yeah.
Because I knew how bad he wanted it. On top of the fact, I knew he was just a great guy.
Yeah.
Treated us like his kids.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome. I like that. On you, Yana.
So what type of students were you, starting with Chuck?
Well, I was more of a business major, and Tom Albright being my coach, I also worked in the attendance office. And the courses that I was taking was primarily, now this is going to really sound outdated, but there were data processing courses that I was taking where I would, look, I don't know how old you are, but when we were coming along,
20. She 20.
you had to take the wires and stick them into the boards, and then you had key cards and all of that type of thing. So that's how I grew up, just learning data processing. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. Because as I began to, for instance, got in my junior and senior year, I was working in the attendance office. So I would work half the day and go to school the other half of the day.
Awesome. How about you, Fred? What kind of student were you?
Well, if you let people tell it, I was a really smart student. But I'm going to tell you like this, being the son of a teacher who actually taught at Adams Park in Annapolis,
That's right.
The Black School for Black Youth in Annapolis back in the 60s, you couldn't bring bad grades home. With that being said, high school, I started taking some courses that didn't really sit well with me. One particular, major British writers, which I could care less about. So that probably was the worst grade I got in high school. Other than that, I was a pretty good student. Never had to come home and hide my report card, other than that one time that I got that. I can put it out there now, and I'm old enough to put it out there. I got a D in that major British writers class. Didn't sit well with me. Probably should have took another gym class. But I was a pretty good student. Like I said, a son of a teacher. So you had no room for error to bring home bad grades. And at Southern, we had the smaller class sizes. So you pretty much, you knew that not a lot of disruption in classes. And everybody knew everybody. So it was pretty cool.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. And so this question is also for the both of you. What celebrity players or what professional players were popular back then, and which ones did you look up to?
I already told mine. So, I mean, he was really.
Well, I don't even know who that is. I didn't know if that was somebody from one of
I thought you were a real young girl. Anyway, Earl the Pearl Monroe played for the Baltimore Bullets, as well as a couple of years at the Knicks, I think. But overall, there was the Bullets he was with, and I don't know. I just loved this game. He was fearless, and that's how I was. I was fearless.
Perfect. Okay, how about you, Fred?
Well, the one and only Dr. J was my favorite. And when he started in the ABA, and of course, we didn't have cable TV then, so you only had to look at highlights on George Michael Sports Reporters or whatever that was. And I used to try to emulate doing things that he did on the court. But growing up, it was Dr. J. But I also loved the local team, which was the Baltimore Bullets and then / Washington Bullets. But Julius Erving was my guy. And unfortunately, the Los Angeles Lakers every year used to beat the 76ers, and I would hear it from my team. Everybody fell in love with Magic Johnson, except for me. Me and a couple of my cousins. We were Dr. J fans. And as soon as we got a guy named Moses Malone, we took care of all of that. And I said, at least we got a championship with the Doc. I don't care what else happens. He's got a championship. So Julius Erving would be my guy. The Doc.
Awesome. Okay, on to you, Roger.
What's up, cuzos? Look, while I'm talking to y'all can say what you want. Ain't no because it's 3 of us and 1 army.
There we go, cuz.
Hey, look, I got the controls. I can mute you now. I can even remove you.
I go on my cell phone and post everything we said, put it on Facebook. So he didn't cut us off, see what happened. But when they was talking about, I know with the baseball, I remember my father talking about playing baseball with Lil Frank.
Right.
And everybody in Galesville, because the park was right up the street, went down that baseball path. Later on, they diverged to do something else. I also know where that school that Aunt Catherine was calling Chuck from, but I don't think she called him that nice. I think it was some. I think it was some other words. It was some other words involved. Because by the time Up got off Chuck, he was in the backyard. But I want to say, on camera in front of the whole world that's watching us, because we got like 18 million people watching. That I'm really proud of all of you, both athletic accomplishments. You really did well in improving the family name and the family guidelines. And I doubt if there's anybody coming behind us that will top all the attributes that you guys have accrued. Have accrued. So, and Chuck, now you was in the military for a little while, right? Or
I went in the Army Reserve. I wanted a piece of paper that said psychiatric specialist. And that was I found out that was the quickest way I could get it, was to do a 6-month active duty tour. But they say you also got to do basic training. I said, no big deal. I'm an athlete. I'm already in shape. So I went in at age 32 and went to, what was it? Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Yeah, it broke all kind of records that year for cold, because I went in during the wintertime. But, nonetheless, I was up for it. And then from there, I went to Texas to do my studies at National Health Academy of Sciences.
Fort Sam.
For the psychiatric specialist.
Yeah.
That was down in Fort Sam, Houston, Texas.
Yeah, that's right.
Mackell Air Force Base.
Yeah, because my daughter was down there. She's a trader. She was in the Air Force. And so, Big Fred, what's going on, cuz? Elaborate a little bit more. Now, did you play ball in college? Did you do that?
Actually, Roger, after my senior year, I ended up going to UMBC, University of Maryland, Baltimore County.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my best friend Bruce Stedman kind of went in there on like a buddy system. And back then, there wasn't anything such as government student loans.
Right.
So your parents pretty much had to pay for your education with just regular bank loans. You had to go to the bank, get a loan. And my first year at UMBC, and I remember it vividly, the cost to stay at UMBC for 1 year was $1,500 back in 1980.
$1,500.
Well, my first year there, did great, did okay. The next year, I got the stake in the heart treatment. My dad came to me and he said, Frederick, he never called me Fred. He always called me Frederick. He said, Frederick, I'm not going to be able to send you back to school. And that kind of, took me through a loop. So I said, hey, I have to find a job. So I actually enrolled in Anne Arundel Community College after that. And just doing that commute back and forth just wasn't for me. So I actually went to the working world, worked my way up in a couple of places, and That's the one thing I do regret, is not finishing my college. But I think I've done pretty good for myself, though. I'm actually 14 years in as a government contractor, logistics at Fort Meade as a team lead. So, sometimes things happen for a reason. And that's probably the only thing I do regret, is that I didn't get my degree. I know it's never too late, but at this stage of my life, I'm looking forward to being able to retire pretty soon.
Well, cuz you ain't put all the information out there. I'm letting everybody know. My cousin work at NSA. He ain't got no chump. He works at NSA.
They train us to stay Fort Meade.
Big boy. Don't y'all get it twisted. He not a contract guy out there working on side the road, holding the light, guy in traffic. That ain't him. G14. Yeah, you got to be G14 classified to get in building with my company.
Wow.
Tell all that man business like that.
Right.
It's people on here right now saying he gonna lose his badge.
No, he not. No, he not. We ain't say nothing.
Nah, I'm good.
Yeah, I know I'm good. Because I worked at. I know how that stuff worked because I worked at the Pentagon. I used to do the chemical warfare treaty for the country. I used to brief Bush and Colin Powell every Friday, so I know exactly how that G14 stuff works. And you know how my father was. What you doing? I said, well, Daddy, I'm work. Well, what you do at your job? Daddy, I'm work. Well, he started cussing. You ain't telling me nothing. Blah, blah, blah. What do you actually do? I said, Daddy, I can't tell you what I'm doing. He said, well, you're going to tell me. You know how my father, you're going to tell me when you come to the house. I was like, oh, no, I can't go home. I can't go home. Yeah, so I'm going to pass it on back to Y'all can go ahead and juice them up by how y'all don't juice them up.
Well, look, man, I'm disappointed with you guys. I don't want you to know that, man, because all right, you looked up to Kevin Slade.
Uh-oh.
Now didn't you?
Oh, Lord.
Huh? Come on now. Now, Chuck, you were known in Annapolis as the computer, according to Kim Jones. Whatever that means, I don't know. But let's talk about some of your games, those games that you used to have. Now, in 73, you guys were the bomb. All right? But 74, Annapolis was the bomb. Let's talk about some of those games. How did you feel about those games back in the day?
Man, let me tell you something. Whenever Southern came to Annapolis versus Annapolis coming to Southern, it was always big time, son. Mm-hmm. I mean, sold out every single time. People standing all around the court. We would go up to Annapolis. I love going to Annapolis to play. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I had family members up there. Plus, I had friends up there. But I'm going to tell you something about Kevin Slade. Kevin Slade was probably the only guy that I would compare to myself. Kevin Slade was a bad boy.
Yeah.
I'm just telling it like it is. That boy was nasty, gone too soon for sure. But I like the competition of it all, because we always had competition with Annapolis. And let me see, I got to try to keep it clean. Okay, Jimmy Dove was the only white boy that wasn't afraid when we came to Annapolis.
He was a beast.
You hear me? I mean, that boy was nasty, son.
Yeah.
The other guys, some of the other guys, it's like whenever we played Annapolis, man, it's like they shaking in the shoes. I said, man, this is another team. Just keep it moving. But Dove, I enjoy playing with Dove and Quincy Cole and all those guys, man. It's just like, there was nothing like it. I mean, it was just like we were meant to play together.
Yeah.
We'd go all over the place to play. Besides coming up to Annapolis, playing the Summer League. We did that. Remember the old school over Eastport?
Oh, Eastport, that's right.
Oh, man. Shoot, those were great times over there, man.
Awesome.
Kevin Slade was playing back then.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish Bird Booth was living. He could tell you some stories.
Well, you mentioned a name that I haven't heard in a long time, man. Quincy Cole.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
Quincy was my boy. We were hanging partners, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Mr. Cole he was one of the best point guards that I can remember when we were coming up. As a matter of fact, when we would travel, he was always our point guard, and Jimmy Dove and we were the forward and center. And before we got that state championship the year before, and then Charles Tyler was also with us.
Yeah.
And we'd go up to Forestville, DC, wherever. We play anybody, anywhere, just to get that niche going. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it was big fun, man.
Well, I'm gonna stop you right there because you can go on and on. So we're gonna transition over to Fred real quick.
Okay, Fred, take it away.
But before I go to Fred, where did you go to college at?
Me?
I went to school at a small. It's a long story, but I put it in the book. When the book comes out, Miss Ayana, you will be helping me with that, right?
I'm gonna lean in just like you, and I'm gonna say, yes, I am.
Yeah. Anyway, let me get back. Look, when I left high school, I went to a small school in North Carolina called Methodist College. And when I got down there, I found out, well, I knew before I got there, I had 2 bad knees. And I was told that I would have to have surgery on those knees if I wanted to continue to play. Well, I wasn't the type of kid that was comfortable with somebody cutting on my knees back at that time. So I actually dropped out down there, even though I enjoyed playing even with the guys down there. It just like my knees had just got so bad, it just wouldn't take it anymore. So I dropped out, and I did similar to what Fred did. I came back home and got a job. And that's another long story. I mean, that'll take too long to tell you all about that. But I went to Methodist College. I went to Bowie State College. I went to Community College of Baltimore. Took a couple courses also up at Anne Arundel Community College. And the diplomas, I never got my degree either. You know, I got a lot of courses, but I never did get the degree. Yeah. I graduated from DHMH, which is Department of Health and Mental Hygiene School of Practical Nursing. I graduated from there, and then I graduated from that National Health Academy of Sciences down in Texas with the psychiatric specialist diploma.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Okay, Mr. Booz.
I know you wait for this one.
Uh-huh.
All of those
right.
are
and remember rule number 2, all right? Because Chuck remember rule number 2. You remember rule number 2. All right?
Yeah.
Tell us about your experiences in the Panther Den.
Woo.
Rule number 2.
Well, tell us how you beat them, cuz. Tell us.
No, Roger, you can't let that out the bag.
Hey,
okay.
I'm getting ready to remove you.
Let's start. I'm gonna start it off with. I actually made the varsity as a 10th grader.
Awesome.
And I'll tell you this little tidbit. When Mr. Albright told me and Brian Smith and my brother-in-law Gerald Thompson, my cousin Gerald Thompson, DT, that we're going to get moved up to the varsity. And the first thing I said was, man, I ain't gonna get no playing time on the varsity. I'm gonna stay on JV because we're putting up some pretty good numbers. So one day after practice, I'm wondering, okay, I'm gonna go up to him and say, hey, Mr. Albright, keep putting me back on the JV. So I walk up to him, and it had been one of those practices where he had ran us to death. And I said, excuse me, Mr. Albright, can I ask you something? And he says, yeah, Freddie Booz, what can I do for you? And I said, can I go back and play on the JV? And when I asked that question, he turned around and looked at me and he said, Freddie Booz, you either play on the varsity or you don't play at all. And it's safe to say, a decision I made. I'm like, okay, well, guess I'm going to be on here with these upperclassmen. But anyway, so we'll fast forward a little bit. During that year, the first time we played Annapolis High was in our gym. And our center, and I won't call his name, but he called in sick. That's what we used to call it when somebody used to not come to school on a Annapolis High game day. So we're in huddle, and he says, Freddie Booz, you're going to start tonight. And I mean, we're playing against Dan Rowland, Jeff Brown, Yogi, Carlos Semley, Lenny Knight. Let me see who else was on that team. Maybe Pete Kirby, maybe. I mean, they were college-sized team. And I'm out there, little 5'10" guy. And I'm like, what the heck am I going to do out here? And I mean, they beat the brakes off of us at Southern. Beat us by like 30. So fast forward, end of the year, we play them again. Got a little bit closer. They beat us by like 16, 17. By this time, me and Brian had broke the starting lineup as 10th graders. So lo and behold, at the end of the season, when it was playoff time, who did we see in the final at Annapolis High to go to Cole Fieldhouse? Played it at South River. Raj, I don't know if you guys probably were there. That was the first game ever in South River's gym. They hadn't opened the school up, but that was the game that we played. And we were in the locker room, and Mr. Albright says, you know that old saying, hard to beat a team 3 times? So we took it out there, and I mean, I came out of that locker room, and I was like, I'd never seen that many people at a game before in my life, a high school game. I mean, it's like people were hanging off the light fixtures to see that Southern Annapolis game. And we took it to them that night, gave them all they could handle. But that guy, Jeff Yogi Brown, kind of pretty much did us in. And they ended up beating us by 3 to go to Cole Fieldhouse. Wow. So that was one of my fondest memories of being a 10th grader. Fast forward some more, 11th grade. I actually hurt myself in 11th grade, so I kind of didn't play a lot. Had a foot injury, but I promised my senior year that we would get back to Coalfield. We lost at Coalfield House in the finals my 11th grade year, and I didn't get to do anything. And I said, I promised myself, 12th grade, we're going to get back to the field house, and we're going to win the state. And sure enough, we were the best team in the county that year. So all you Annapolis High people who thought that Annapolis always was number one, do your research. We were number one, 1980, my senior year. I'm on. I didn't forget. I'm going to go backwards. All you Annapolis fans who never will forget that night at Annapolis High when we played Southern in the last game in the Panther Den.
Oh, Lord.
And we beat y'all.
Boom.
Lord.
I mean, beat y'all. Barry Booth, Cabo, Jeff Brown, Steve Snowden. I can name them. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. All those cats, man. I mean, they looked at Brady like we need to kill you. You shouldn't have scheduled this team for the last game. And Mr. Albright, that bus ride home, I think we yelled all the way out to Geno's. You guys remember Geno's out there on West Street?
Right.
Because we couldn't stop at McDonald's because they were probably going to not let us get home. So we ended up going to Geno's that night. But that is my favorite memory of playing at Southern. We lost 2 state championships, but hey, you got to get there to lose them. So, I'm proud of my career there. I was pretty much like a 500-point scorer there, and I was being hurt a year. So I think I did pretty good for myself.
I think both of you did great, man. And there's a reason why you're on the show tonight. All right, but I'm not gonna let it out, because you're the enemy. All right, I'm gonna move straight to Yana. Yana, it's on you.
All right, now Chuck, you mentioned that you worked in the psychiatric field. Tell us a little bit about that. What were some of the rewards and what were some of the challenges?
Okay. As I said, when I dropped out of that first college, I went to work at a construction site in Annapolis for a while just to make enough money to purchase a vehicle so that I could drive back and forth to an inside job. And that inside job was with the state of Maryland. And the only position I could getting into the state was being a janitor. So I took it just to get into the system. And after about 9 months, the nursing director came to me and she said, I see that you're pretty good with the clients. How would you like to go to LPN school and we'll pay you to go? You know, I jumped on that. So that was an accelerated program at, like I said, at Department of Health and Mental Hygiene School of Practical Nursing. Came back to Crownsville as a psychiatric nurse. And to be honest with you, I turned down what I considered to be my dream job to do psych nursing. When I was at University of Maryland Hospital doing one of my rotations, ever since I was a little kid, and I first saw the Maryland State Trooper helicopter, and then I found out what it was all about. For some reason, I wanted to be involved in that in some way. So during my nursing rotation, I worked at the shock trauma unit and waited for that helicopter to bring these people in almost dead and maybe help try to save them. And that was just something I wanted to do. Well, the lady offered me the job, and you might think I'm out of my mind, but I'm going to tell you the truth, and this is just the way it is. She offered me the job, and just as clear as day, like somebody was standing behind me, all I heard was, no, I want you to do psych nursing. And it was just her and I standing there. So I knew that had to be a calling from upstairs. Yeah. So I went with that calling. And I specialize in homicidal and suicidal patients at Crownsville. You know, you had the whole gambit, but that was my specialty. And besides working there, I worked at Shepherd Pratt through an agency. Mm-hmm. That's when it was very private. And again, like I said, I did some of that in the Army Reserve as a psychiatric specialist. But I think I was meant to do that type of thing. I just thoroughly enjoyed working with the clients. You know, since I was a young kid, I always wanted to help people. Mm-hmm. I mean, in any way that I could, I was a helper. Yeah. And working at that state mental institution, everybody's not cut out to do that. And I know that I was sent there by the man upstairs because he equipped me with everything that I needed to do the job that I needed to do. I never felt afraid. I mean, no matter how big they were, sometimes there were people bigger than I was, black belt, karate experts, you name it. But I dealt with it because, you know, that was my job. And I kept it real with them. I think I was able to develop a rapport with the clients to where they trusted me because they knew that I was always going to keep it real with them. I said, you know, as long as you are able to manage yourself, I said, we won't have any problems and I'll allow you to do many things. However, on the flip side of that, if you become unmanageable, I'm going to definitely deal with that as well. And sometimes you had to do that. But again, it was very fulfilling to be able to help those clients in any way possible. And I always looked out for them, even when some of my supervisors attempted to treat them in a bad way. I would speak up for them. But that's just the way it was.
Wow, that's so wonderful. Not everybody gets an opportunity to do something that they feel like they're called to do.
Oh, no doubt.
Kudos to you. Mm-hmm. Fred, what do you, well, I guess we can't ask you what you do at your job, but what's
if I tell you, I gotta kill you.
Tell us about how you got into government, and for those listening, what are some of the differences from when you got in versus now?
Well, when I first got in, I'll lead myself up to that because I'm into logistics. And again, after I dropped out of college, it was just like, okay, Fred, you're 20, 21 years old. You got to find a job. You got to do something. So I actually work for recreation and parks quite a bit. I love working with kids. I love being around kids. I coach kids, and I'm always willing to do something for kids. And I worked for rec and parks for probably 6-7 years after high school during the summers. And after a while, you say to yourself, hey, you're going to have to find a job. That was just a summer job. So believe it or not, I started at the Parole Kmart as a part-time employee. Everybody's Roger and Armand are old enough to know where the Parole Kmart was. And I met this guy named Albert Johnson from Annapolis. And if he's listening, I'm gonna give him his kudos why he's just like giving your flowers while he's still here. When I got under his wing, he always told me, and the same thing my dad used to tell me, when you get a job, you learn everything you can about that job. So I think with my logistics journey, it started in shipping and receiving there. And I worked my way up to a manager. And after that, it was like, retail isn't for me. I need to try something else. So luckily for me, my brother and a lot of family and friends had worked at a company called Nevermore. They called it plastic plant back in the day. And they were paying good money. And I said, my brother, I asked him, I said, hey, I think I could get in there. And he, they wouldn't advertise when they were hiring. They would always, it was a family oriented place. Everybody in there was family. So my brother Curtis, one day he called me and he said, hey, can you come down here because they're taking applications? And sure enough, I went down there. They called me like 2 days later and I started working there and just started learning some other stuff and into logistics. I was in the warehouse learning logistics. And unfortunately, that place ended up moving to South Carolina, which I was not going to do because I'd already got married and had a family at this time. So from that, I went from that job to Naval Institute at the Naval Academy. Still a type of logistics thing. I was running mail and some other things I was doing down there. And finally, my brother-in-law, who worked at the Fort Meade facility, he got me in contact with a contractor there. Told me to go online and find, put an application in at this contractor. And a long story short, the rest is history. I got with them, of course, again in logistics, and stayed with them for about about 7 years. And finally found my niche with a contractor where now I am actually in charge of running the logistics, all the supplies that have to go out in the field for the agency. I am in charge of all of the strategically placed storerooms that offer the computers, the monitors, the peripherals, and those type of things. I'm in charge of all of those. I have a crew of about 9 that I oversee, and the rest is history. I'm just waiting to get about 4 or 5 more years in, and hopefully God will spare me to be able to retire from that place. Right, Roger? What's that place, Roger?
YSA.
Yeah, there you go. Let's say Fort Meade.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Well, wow, that's good to know people. I mean, you really
Yes.
worked your network and had people looking out for you. That's wonderful.
Yes, indeed.
Absolutely. All right, Roger, it's on you.
Yeah, Chuck, you talked about your car. Didn't you have when you one of the first people to get one of those Volkswagen Super Beetles back in the day? Didn't you have one of them?
Well, let's tell a quick story about that. That Volkswagen Super Beetle belonged to my ex-wife.
Oh, okay.
Who was my girlfriend at the time in high school. And I will tell you a quick story. It was brand new, and I just went to school down in North Carolina, and she allowed me to take it down there. Well, a drunk guy pulled across me.
Oh God!
And it was almost total. And I felt so bad. I couldn't even see straight because I said, "Now this darn girl, let me drive this car down here and keep it." And now drunk drivers pulled across me and caused me to have an accident. So she never acted like she was upset about it or anything, but I knew it had to bother her. I said, because now a brand new Super Beetle, it wasn't many of those out.
Sure wasn't.
But anyway, she got back to herself as far as just telling me that, don't worry about the car. She just wanted to make sure I was all right.
Right.
So, that's pretty cool. I said, but even still, it still bothered me. That's
I understand. Yeah, because I remember that car. See, I go way back. But, on the flip side, I got the last year that they made those with the turbo and all the bells and whistles.
Yeah.
I got
that was a nice Volkswagen.
Yeah, I got a 2017 Beetle.
Okay.
Yeah, that thing is something else. Ask Army.
I
He tell
know
you
it
about
is.
it. Fill it up once a month. You can't beat that.
Yes, sir.
You can't beat that. So besides you traveled from North Carolina, you did a stint in the military, and
Right.
then your calling was to help people up at Crownsville. You probably
Right.
saw some of our relatives up there, but we ain't gonna go into that.
No,
And
Everybody were relative.
everybody, So after that, is Crownsville where you retired from? Where did you retire from?
Well, let me just put it this way. That was the place I retired from, but I did a lot of other things before I retired.
Right.
I was injured on the job trying to keep some other people from getting hurt. And I suffered a lower back injury and had to have some surgery called a lumbar laminectomy discectomy. It was pretty much a reconstruction of the lower lumbar area.
L4,
and
L5.
The doctor didn't recommend that I go back to that line of work. So I was retrained by the state for a position over at a convalescence center. I was like the ears and eyes for the state position called MAPS coordinator, which stands for Maryland Appraiser of Patient Progress. I mean, I had to go around and see all of the clients and check up on the nurses. Could you imagine to see me coming? Check up on the nurses to assure that they were doing things according to state regulations. I love that job, but it was just too much walking for me after the surgery. So they retrained me again, and I went to work for a managed care firm up in Columbia. Got in on the ground floor. It was pretty much a new company, still in behavioral mental health. And held, I don't know, I guess about 4 different positions up there before our company was bought out. And I was in middle management, and they were laying off people left and right. And they said, Mr. Mackell, you can keep your job, but you got to move to Kansas City. I said, well, I don't imagine I'll be keeping my job because I'm not moving to Kansas City. So I went to the local newspaper, actually, just to keep income going, even the Capital, as a cashier / data entry person. And then the guy that hired me just a little while after I got there, he said, I've been looking over your resume and I see you have a lot of managerial experience. I said, yeah. He said, well, I do have a position for you that I'd like for you to take a look at. I said, what's that? He said, electronic data processing specialist. I said, yeah, I can handle that. I did that for a while. And he came to me again. He said, I got another position for you. I said, well, what is it? He said, you'd be great at it. I said, what is it? He said, regional district sales manager. That's like 3,000 clients, 70 routes, half adults that act like little kids and other half little kids trying to be adults. So I said, you know what? I said, I can handle that job. I said, but there's one problem. He said, what's that? I said, I'm tired of babysitting adults who act like little kids. I said, I had a staff of 24 people before I left the managed care firm. And I said, I just had my fill with that. I said, but since you gave me a job when I came here, I would help you for a while. So I think I did it for maybe about a year or so. And then that's how I got into the limo business. Started driving limos, stretch limos like the second day. And did that for, I guess, a little over 26 years. And in between that time, I went back on the healthcare side and worked with traumatic brain trauma clients. I worked with them for about 8 years and still always helping people. It didn't matter. If I was able to help somebody, I was great. I just felt good about helping anybody. And so anyway, I had a bad car accident in 2015 where I was hit from behind. And I remember I told you about the lower lumbar back injury. Okay, well, that car accident caused a problem in the upper cervical area.
Yeah, C5, C1, C2.
They had to reconstruct that as well. Mm-hmm. And it's like 2 rods and 12 screws back there holding my neck and torso together. And I retired in 2017 because I felt like it was tearing me up. The pain was just so bad, I just couldn't do anything. I just kept leaving it upstairs because I felt like if a man wants me to do something, I will continue to do it.
Right.
And he, made it so that I can go back and I'm driving limos again. I created a business,
great
LLC, VDM Logistics Plus. Had 4 businesses under that.
That's right. Shameless plug. That's right.
That was a shout out. Good girl. Good move, cuz. Good move. Hey, so Fred, with you, I know you haven't quite reached retirement, but I've known you all your life. Once you retire, what are you going to do? Because you're not a sit around the house guy.
No, you know better. I don't know. If my health is still good, probably, I don't know. I like yard work, so I'm sure I have plenty to do keeping up in this yard. Got that grandbaby, so she'll be about 11, 12. Let's see, she's 7, 5 more years. She'll be 12, so she'll be into stuff by then. So I'm sure we'll be following her around, whatever she wants to do. Her name is Kinley. It's my oldest daughter, Kristen's daughter. She's in the 1st grade, so I'm sure I'll stay busy, following her around and just doing whatever. But one thing I'm not going to do, I'm not going to get a job. That's one thing I'm not going to do. I know a lot of people that retire and then they go get a job. I'm not getting a job. If I can help it, I am not getting a job.
I'm glad you brought that up. I retired early. I retired at 49. And now I had all this money coming in from the military and all this other stuff. But I did end up working more out of boredom than necessity for financial means. And I did a little bit of that. Then I had my own company for a little while. I was training people to pull security at the embassy. But, during that time, Lisi had passed away and then Dad passed away. So it was time to just be there for Mom.
Right.
And so I let all that go. But I'm glad, because grandkids will keep you busy. I got 7 of them.
Got that right.
Yeah, 22 to 5 months. They will keep you busy. But I knew in my heart when you talked about retirement, I said, Freddie ain't going to sit around the house. I know he got something.
No, that ain't happening.
I knew that. I'm going to pass it on over to Armin, man.
Well, look, fellas, I'm still disappointed. I want you to know that. Right?
Uh-oh.
Now, Mr. Mackell, I caught some flack for the spelling of your last name.
Right? You got to get that right, man. Right. All of my friends, man, all of my family, they know it's M-A-K, not M-A-C.
Hey, Chuck. And the first post I saw when I saw that was Lonnie.
Yeah.
Lonnie Mackell. Lonnie said, that is spelled M-A-K-E-L-L.
Yes, yeah,
and he came strong with it too, didn't he?
Yes,
he came real strong.
You lucky Lodi didn't get on there.
Yeah.
You lucky Lodi wouldn't get, because Lodi, he 4-letter word.
Hey, look, hey, real quick, if you're out there on YouTube, subscribe to the show. We're gonna do a quick commercial break and let Yana do her thing.
All right.
Are we now?
Yeah.
Legends from the Past and Future Show we are seeking sponsors. That's right, you and your company. We'd love to partner with you to help support college students, support their financial needs. We support them with internships, paid internships. We have one right now. Her name is Deja, and we plan to take on a little more. So if you want to become a sponsor, you want to shoot us an email at pastandfuturelegends@gmail.com. That's pastandfuturelegends@gmail.com. We have different packages for you, different levels of engagement, and we want to hear from you. Back to you, Armand.
Awesome. We just picked up another sponsor the other day, Carol Henson, Mr. C.
Mr. C.
So we are moving. We are headed in the right direction. Now let's real quick. Let's talk about your families. Chuck, are you married with children?
Yes, I am actually. I'm married to a young lady from Annapolis. Her name is Sheila. Been married to her for 33 years. And
Wow.
we have two children, Darrell and Ariel, between us. And they have two children. And the little boy is out there right now, Kasim, throwing a fit. And then and then the little girl is Ryan. Then I have a daughter named Monique. Monique is my oldest blood daughter. And she has a son, Tyreek. Tyreek is like 22 now. He's just came out of the Navy on a medical. And he's doing pretty good right now. But overall, I have another daughter that I adopted years ago, and she has a daughter who's also just started college up in York, Pennsylvania. And that's Nikki. And Nikki was the oldest of the three girls when I first started out. I had little stair steps. Okay. And it was Nikki, Monique, and Chanel. And by the way, Nikki's daughter is named Sydney. And it's a blended family, but it's just a wonderful family. I love it. I love all of them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What about you, Fred? Let's talk about your family. Are you married? Children? Grandkids?
I am married to my high school sweetheart, who actually is the sister of all of those athletic Smith brothers of Shadyside, Maryland. Her name is Justine. We have two wonderful daughters, Kristen and Erin. We've been married all of 37 years, but of course, like I said, we've been high school sweethearts, so you can do the math. We have a grandbaby, Kenley Joy Ellis, who is the pride and joy, and Joy is the name because she was a preemie. So God spared her life, and we are thankful for that. And she is a handful. She is something else. I have a lot of family. In-laws, too many to name. I love all my family. My sister, of course, you guys know my sister Renee from Annapolis, Renee Turner. I have an older sister, Missy Doris, who's my dad's. She's the oldest. And then I have Curtis, my brother, who you guys know who's Chauncey's brother, Chauncey Troy Smith, and late Keith Smith. I have my brother Melvin. Oh, let me not skip Darlene. She's probably already saying I come after Renee anyway. So I have Darlene. She was everybody knows Darlene. She was over at the hospital for probably 40 years, maybe 35, 40 years. Darlene Robinson. And I have my brother Melvin, who everybody thinks is my twin. He's not my twin. But me and Skeet, we call him Skeet. I love all my family to death, but me and Skeet, we grew up, side by side. He's 1 year older than me, and we did things together, played sports together, rode bikes together, did everything together. But and of course, our mom is still living. She unfortunately lost my dad to COVID in 1990. I mean 1990. Whoa, 2020. I don't know where 1990 came from, but 2020. We lost our dad to COVID, but my mom's still living. She lives behind the Bay Ridge. Roger knows where she is in Bay Forest, behind the Bay Ridge, Giant, down there in Giant. So if she's listening, Ma, I gave you your shout out. So you don't have to say he didn't even mention my name. But anyway, and I'm also going to mention my bonus mom's name because my mother-in-law is like my mother, second mother, And she may be, depending on if somebody's over there at the house with her watching. If not, Augustine, you got your shout out from your son-in-law. I'm her favorite son-in-law, she says, but of course, I'm her only son-in-law. So,
I like that.
so that she gets me on that. But again, that's we have so much family. Our family, Roger knows, we're Galesville, Shadyside, Churchton, Annapolis, all over is our family. So that's pretty much does it for my family. 2 daughters, granddaughter, wife, and myself.
There you go.
Awesome. Now, Chuck.
Yes, sir.
All right, and the same question goes to you too, Fred. Okay, if you had to leave something encouraging for everyone that's listening, all right, what would it be?
For everyone that's listening,
Oh,
Be
wow.
true to yourself.
Huh?
Go ahead.
Be true to yourself. Don't try to be someone you're not.
Hold up, Fred. All right, it's Chuck's turn. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna get to you in a second.
Fred, I think he's still mad with you about that Annapolis stuff, but anyway. Look, I'm gonna say this because, like I said a lot in the book, which I directed towards young people, is that try to learn from other people's mistakes rather than your own. You know, you can learn a lot from other people, and don't be afraid to speak up. Nobody else is going to speak up for you, so you got to speak up for yourself. And never, never, ever give up. We're not built that way. Yeah. No matter what happens, keep going and keep pushing.
Awesome. It's well said. Okay, Fred, what about you?
Well, again, like I said, I look at it as, especially with the path that I traveled to get to where I am, and thankful for the stick-to-itiveness of staying grounded. Always stay grounded and humble, because as fast as you obtain stuff, it doesn't take long for you to lose stuff. It only takes one mistake that can ruin your life forever. So my motto is to stay humble. Everybody that knows me, they know I am a people's person. I love people. Absolutely. I love being around people. I love people's kids. I got a bunch of nieces and nephews. They know when their Uncle Fred's around, I'm positive. Everything I talk is positive, never negative. You know, if I see you, looking like you're down and out, I'm going to tell you, what's the matter? You're living, you're breathing. You got life.
That's good.
Make the best out of it, because you're going to get old one day, hopefully, and you'll look back on it and say, you know what, Uncle Fred told me, it's not so bad. Just keep going with it, and all good things will come.
And always keep the faith.
Yes.
Yeah. That's good. Yanni, you have anything you want to say?
No, it's been a wonderful show. Thank you for participating. We really appreciate it. The audience has been great.
We lost her audio.
Stokes and my econ for sponsoring the show.
Yes. What about you, Raj?
Well, this show right here was awesome because it's proven to everybody in the world how awesome my family is. And
appreciate that, cuzzo.
This Chuck and Fred, that's just the tip of the iceberg. And we will have some more of my family on there to show y'all how really great and truly outstanding we are with all the things that look, I'm proud of you guys, man.
Can I say one more thing?
On this show. Go ahead, cuz. Go ahead.
Can I say one more thing? When Armand first approached me about doing this, and I said, that word legend is, you always think about it in the athletic sense when you're talking about legends. So, I was kind of like, I had a pretty good career, son. I was, I had a damn good career, son. But I'm like, right. Legend? I said, my uncle was a legend. I said, I can name a bunch of people that went to Southern that may be looking at this and saying, man, I could get on that show. But legend can be a word that can be either taken the wrong way. I look at it as you don't have to be an athlete to be a legend.
Right.
You can be great at something, whether it be dealing with youth.
Mm-hmm.
You could be a community activist. You could be strong in the community. You could be recreation coaches, mentoring kids. You could be a whole lot of things that will put you in the category of being a legend. So at Southern High, people know my name. I can go through the neighborhood and people say, there's Mr. Booze, or there's Freddie Booze or whatever. And I look at it and I just laugh and I'm like, you know what? I did touch somebody. Somewhere along the line I taught somebody. Touched somebody's heart or made a mark on their life. So, I appreciate Armand offering this to me. I was the one who said, hey man, let's get my uncle with me and we can do the double thing, and it'll be a Southern High from the 70s, and I was late 70s, early 80s, and we could do it together and make it a double legend show. So Armand, I appreciate you guys giving us the opportunity to do this.
It was well deserved, man. It took me a long time to really get you on the show.
Yeah, I'm a busy man.
Yeah, but it was well worth it, man. Well worth it. And Chuck, what can I say? But I can say this, man. You guys, you got me pumped up, man. So we have another sponsor. So if you're out there, I'm going to give away a hoodie. I'm going to give away a Legends hoodie. And, the team said, 13th call is just too long. So, I listened to my team.
Fifth caller. Fifth caller. Number 5. 5.
If you are the 5th caller, there's
God.
a number right there. There's a number. And if you can tell me what ingredient is in peanut butter, and you're the 5th caller, you will win a hoodie. If you can tell me the ingredient in peanut butter, you will win a hoodie. The 5th caller. There's a number right there.
I should know that. I should know that because peanut butter and jelly was my favorite growing up.
If you won before, you cannot win tonight. Somebody else has to give a chance to win.
Yeah, because somebody won twice already.
Wow.
The 5th caller, we already had one, but I'm sorry, Jim, you don't qualify.
Just call her name out. Just
Be
call
the
her
2nd
name.
caller.
See that?
Be the 3rd caller. Sis, you the 4th caller.
Uh-oh.
We have a winner, Miss Avis Tucker.
Avis.
Oh, wow.
That's family
Wow.
right there. That's
I know
what
that
I'm
name.
good. I told you in the beginning
Congratulations.
how awesome my family was. Now you got a
Hey,
cousin
so
that's winning.
this
That's
is-
family right there. No, we didn't rig it. Let's get that straight.
Hey, look. Hey, text me your address and your size, okay? And
What she said, I know Avis saying something.
yeah, I know. I bet I know. But let me finish with this show, okay?
I know it.
All right.
Tell Avis Tucker that Fred said hello.
Yeah, she been hitting us up on the comments all the time. She just clowned on me, talking about cuz really.
Okay, you can stop calling now. We have a winner. Avis Tucker. She's the winner tonight. Hey, cuz, we got a winner, okay? All right. Hey, again, thank you for tonight's show. Next week, we're going to have another exciting show. We're going to have Paris Lane again. She's going to circle back around, and it's going to be a big one next week. So tune in next week. If you enjoy what you're seeing, help the show out. Donate, donate. You know, we are doing big things. We are really going. We are now an LLC. The Legends from the Past Show LLC. So we are really moving in the right direction. If you want to sponsor, come sponsor. If you want to donate, donate. But see you next week. Peace.
See you later,
Good night,
family.
everybody.